What's happening, YouTube fam? And welcome back to another video on this beautiful week.
Yes.
Your girl's alive.
No, I said it like that. When I say yes, I don't know why I do that.
I don't know.
Not
That
sure.
was like...
It's weird. Very weird.
We received all these great questions from y'all regarding relationships.
Yep.
And so we didn't answer them in the last video about us because we were like, we need to just separate those into its own video.
Because we got so much to say about it.
It was so much to say. Single years, man. Okay, if you're in, this is the video for the people that are in it currently.
Exactly. And we got a message. We got a question specifically from Victor. Shout out Victor.
Victor. High five, Victor.
Yeah, Victor's question was, I know you both had a period of singleness. What kept you going? Did you ever feel like you were running out of time? Or did you doubt that you would get married eventually? And did you get tired of waiting? So that's a loaded question. And he wanted both of our answers on this, and we're going to give you both of our answers.
Both of our answers.
Yeah, you start.
No!
Ladies
I'm
and
also
gentlemen.
rocking a baby here, so if I'm just rocking, it's not because
she's not
I'm
moving because
losing
she's
my
moving.
marbles.
No,
because I am losing my marbles.
There is a baby in her arms. So.
Yes to all those things, guys. This, I could go on and on and on about my singleness, because my singleness was until I met, I was in a relationship in my teen years up until I was about 23.
Yep.
And so like 19 to 23, just living the unhealthy lifestyle, running from Jesus, being in my relationship that was trying to fill all the voids. And then, then I broke free.
Yep.
And use that time to get healthy and pursue the Lord. And then I felt like at that time I was not thinking about marriage. I'm just thinking let me just get confident. A confident human again. When you start to feel like, okay, I'm like 25, I'm feeling more mature, I'm feeling like it's time. Well, I didn't meet Fedrick till I was 30. So it was from that time 23 to 30.
Yeah, it's 7 years.
7 years of singleness. I feel like, who's the one that waited in the Bible for his wife?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Jacob?
Jacob!
Was it Jacob?
I think it was Jacob waited for...
Yeah, he waited for Rebecca 14 years actually.
Bible scholars.
14 years. Because he got married to someone after 7. That was who he wanted to get married to, but he had to wait for another 7 years for the person he wanted to get married to.
Yes.
They did they did things in the Bible times.
I was waiting for Fedrick.
Crazy times. Yeah.
So I think I have literally a foot in, and maybe y'all are experiencing this. You're coming from an unhealthy world of setting new boundaries, learning what type of person you want, what God's telling you, what to wait for. And so you have this new expectancy, yes, he's out there. But then sometimes your past pulls you back. I struggled with that for many years. So I think there was part of me that was okay, it could work out. And I spent a little bit of years not pursue or not even waiting for the Christian guy.
Yeah.
I was well, he looks good. He looks smart.
Man.
No
bar.
And I feel when I felt truly this may not happen is when I started setting the bar higher.
As Jaclyn said, we both had a season of singleness, and it's crazy that we both were single for 7 years before we met each other. So we had a 7-year period of being single and just waiting. So for me,
waiting.
I can't. Well, kind of waiting, waiting. Kind of waiting. No, waiting. Anyway, but I also came from an unhealthy relationship, and where I was doing a lot of stuff. You're in the world. I guess not in the world, but I was just living for myself. No, you were in the world. Well, I was in the world. Being what's the word? How you
promiscuous.
Promiscuous. That's the word I wanted. I was a promiscuous boy.
Promiscuous girl.
Wherever you are. I wasn't thinking about Jesus, none of that stuff. I was just living for me.
Sowing your wild oats, is what they say.
Sowing your wild oats. But I got to the point where something where I started getting tired of running from God and the calling He had for my life, and I said I wanted to do things a little different. So I wanted to live how I felt like the Lord wants us to live in those times when you're single, and that's where my change started happening. And I started reading my Bible more, and that kind of was one of the biggest things for me. I started implementing different disciplines. Like I wasn't watching movies that were too sexual because I didn't want my mind to go there. I tried
in the gutter.
Yeah, I was trying to keep my mind pure as best as I can.
Like
you know?
someone's like,
yeah, because it's hard as a guy.
Can't.
It's hard as a guy because you're so easily you can think sexually. You know, you see a lady, you see a pretty girl.
Separate.
I had to separate and put a barrier in there. And I said this before in another video. Like if I would get these kind of thoughts, or a girl was trying to get me to go there, I would start doing the craziest thing I could think of, which was quoting scriptures in my head, which is what a greater way to get lust out your head, but to quote some scriptures. Croach. You gotta.
You better watch that lust rise out of your head and quote scriptures.
You better quote some scriptures at you. That'll get it out your head. Trust me. Try it. If you're in that boat right now, seriously try it.
To me?
Because I can now. I'm talking about what I couldn't do this, and now I gotta get close to you because now it's good. We married.
Scriptures over your life.
I had to have quiet times. I had regularly scheduled quiet times at a regular time of day. For me, it was 5 o'clock in the morning every day. 5 o'clock, I was like, I have to pray. I have to get guarded up because the world is crazy out there for a single guy. And do you feel that way for girls? Like you still have that, even though you're single and you're trying to do things God's way, there's still that thing in your mind where your mind could easily go there if you allow it to go there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I had like this new walk with the Lord where I was thriving and hearing the call from God and getting my life right and getting my wallet right and literally really setting, I even thinking this video, it was like the setting apart. When God calls you to set yourself apart, and so you start separating yourself from certain friends and circles and cutting off the old boyfriends and throwing away those numbers.
No more hotline blings.
No more hotline bling. And so you really feel like you're, walking this. And the enemy comes and he loves to kill, steal, and destroy and trip you up.
You're going to bring them ladies around.
And so I think in your waiting, you can grow weary. And, I mean, we're human. And one text message in the middle of one of those lonely periods can spark that fire. Or one guy says something that you're dealing with an insecurity about, and it's like, there he is. Walking out my singleness, like I said, there were still my past trying to call all the way till I was about 27. Where I had to really go, am I going to take this bait, or am I going to keep pressing on with the Lord and staying pure and waiting?
And that's because, did you do that because you believed that God had someone out there for you that was your person?
Yes. I think...
And you had ideas of what you want the person to be, right?
Yeah. I was writing down. I was getting my vision.
Yeah. I did it too,
I was knowing,
I want them to know it. I wrote guys write too. Guys write too.
Yeah.
For real.
No, we're not talking about a Santa Claus list here. No. We're talking about getting true vision and not settling for anything less. And I think if you're secure and confident with the Lord about what that is, and you believe that God delivers on his promises, you can encourage yourself in those moments and be like, whoa, no, homie, you ain't coming up in my phone.
Get your hands out them cookie jars.
I am waiting for treasure.
And you just reminded me of something too. Like, one of the things that kept me going in that moment was that I started believing that I wanted someone that was running the race like I wanted. Like, that was a desire of mine.
So that was probably what you were holding.
So I was holding off for that, and because of that, I had this notion in my mind that, hey, if I want this type of girl to come my way, then I need to be this type of man.
Yeah.
Like, I can't expect God to give me his finest if I'm not prepared to allow myself to grow and to become the finest gift that I could be for her, which was you. Because a lot of times we have these relationships and you get hurt and you have wounds and it takes time to heal. Because I had to heal from the past wounds that I had, and there were things in me that I know the Lord needed to work out. I mean, I was in this, you know what I'm saying, this great guy with no issues that you now currently...
I thought you were going to start talking about your body.
No, girl.
I was
being sarcastic, saying that I don't have issues, but you know I have issues. We all have issues, but I wanted to be the best person I wanted to be, and I wanted to use my time as being single to become that person for my person.
What age was that you were like, okay, I really got to start working on myself?
I was probably like 24, 25.
Okay.
24, 20, probably really 25. Like, I really started saying, like, I started thinking about marriage, and for some reason the Lord started bringing these married guys that started telling me about marriage and started putting that in my head. And these were guys I could look at that had good marriages that, you know, I could take things from.
Here's the deal. Being single, y'all, is not a death sentence. So, like, I look back on my single years as I'm sitting here rocking a baby like a crazy person. It's just that, like, you'll never get that season back ever. And if you're not content and happy in your single years, you're not going to be content and happy over here. I promise you. And then you're just going to throw all these expectations on someone who can't, like, deliver your high expectations of like who they need to be for you to be happy, and it's not fair for who you end up marrying. So get that worked out in your single years. A lot of your issues you can work out in your single years with Jesus. He is the safe place and your savior, so work that out with him. Like, there's no better time. All the hours that you have, I mean, that's literally what I did. I'm like, I spent more time with Jesus with my coffee and my worship songs and just total silence. You have the opportunity to go drive to the mountains.
Travel.
You can travel.
So much you can do.
Not saying that stuff doesn't happen over here, but think about if God's like, hey, Janet, like, I want you
at the food
to
kitchen.
Go, okay, cool, I got Saturday free, I can do that. Like, you're not
shake some
coordinating.
Babies.
Shake some babies.
In the hospital, that's what I do to keep them, you know.
Go shake
some babies. I could shake some babies.
Go shake some babies. That's like what I think about my time. Like, I look back at that and I think, okay, when was I thriving? When I was stepping out and taking risk in my career or cultivating talent and creativity and gifting, like, just pause, y'all. Your husband is gonna come. Your wife is gonna come.
And you're not running out of time.
The kids are gonna come. You're not running out of your time. Boom. Maybe God just wants this time with you, all to himself, with you. He wants you to learn how to be in relationships with your friends, with your bosses, your leadership. Not everything is about being booed up at the moment.
Booed up.
You know?
Booed up.
Why is everything going to be
everything is a song? Like, that's how my mind works. Every time you say something, I hear a song.
Everything is,
I'm like a living
jukebox. No, I am the jukebox.
I'm the jukebox. I think, like, singleness is a great time of cultivation.
It is.
You think of, like, planting a garden. I think the time that the seed is in the ground and just underground, it's getting watered, it's growing, that's when the most growth is happening. When the seed is underneath the ground. I think that's what singleness is. Like, that's the time to grow, to read books, to develop your leadership skills, like whatever these things is, whatever the things is that you really want to do. I feel like when you're single, you should, like, take full advantage, like you said, of doing that stuff, and not just be, because let me tell y'all something, I'll admit something. There were some days when I was single where I had low moments where I would just, in the evening, I'd be on my couch, and, you know, I'll just sit on my couch, turn on no lights, and it'll be evening time, and the next thing I know, it was like 10 o'clock, I'm still sitting on my couch, like, what is my life? I've done it a couple times, and they're embarrassing, but it's easy to... He definitely
did that when we broke up.
Yeah, I did when you broke up, for sure. But it's so easy to allow yourself to go down there when you feel, when the loneliness comes, and we all get lonely at times, and when you get lonely, you do things like that, or you might make a bad decision that because you were weak at that time.
Loneliness will lie to you.
Yeah, you have to really have that strong foundation in those moments, not to allow the loneliness to get you.
Call a friend. Like, be around people. Don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself from friendships during this time. I mean, I'm a female, so of course I had big visions of marriage and finding my Prince Charming, and also
riding horses on the beach.
Yes. And the crazy thing, I will tell you this, when I was not walking with Christ, there were plethora of men. I was trying to be
you were trying to be
a man-eater. Like, there was this just moment, and you're thinking, like, I'm so hot. Like, I got all these guys. Like, but none of them were quality. And none of them were following the Lord.
Yep.
And that's the thing. When you get closer to Christ and you abide in Him and you dwell in Him, He actually keeps you covered. So don't mistake your covered years for a time of, like, I'm alone and I'm like, God doesn't remember me. No, He actually treasures you and cares for you.
He's also protecting you
protecting
you from anything that can hurt. Maybe something that could be detrimental to your calling. Like if a guy hurts you in that kind of way, that could be detrimental to your calling. He's saving you from that experience.
I got so confused by that time, and I thought, no guy is asking me out. No guy wants to be, like, no one was asking me on dates. No one was saying anything. And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong?
Zane just walked up and you want to say hi to everybody.
This is how we're filming videos these days, so just like, here we are.
But did you feel like you would, in your time of your singleness in that 7 years, you feel like you would never get married?
Yeah, like I'm saying. I was like, God, I am like with you more. I'm like, I feel like you should be like delivering my husband like on an Amazon like Prime delivery. Yeah. I'm doing what you're telling me to do. Why do I feel further away from the marriage. Promises and the marriage?
I felt the same way too.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. I think when you're not walking with the Lord, everything just feels like it's just right there, and it's like
like in the movies and stuff.
Like in the movies, but
you're in Target. You're like, hello.
What?
That's it. You're like, hello. That's the person. The person. Oh. You saw somebody and you're like, boom, you're on a date next week.
Yes, exactly. He thinks our past is hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, I felt that way. So I just want to like encourage you guys that are sitting there and thinking that like it could be that you're just truly hidden for such a time as this, and not hidden like from the world, because you have great gifts and creativity and purpose to offer whoever is around you. And I think, I don't know, I just wanted to shake the person right now.
Like a baby.
Like, stop with that. I wanted to shake me back then.
Yeah. If you only knew what you knew now.
If you only knew what you knew now, and then know that like it's going to happen at the right time. But yes, there are moments of weariness, and because I'm human, and there are moments of doubt, and there are moments of questioning. And if that's you, know that you're right in line with every human in history.
Exactly. And you're not running out of time, and being single is not a poison. It's not poison. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's
like
actually
Princess
a really
Bride,
great
you haven't drank
time.
The goblet.
Yeah, it's a really great time of your life, and the Lord still speaks to you, and He can use you, and you never know. You could be right around the corner from that person you're waiting for. That person you could see that person in Target and be like, hello.
Hello. And just
where you at?
No,
where you
he
been?
Is someone who is going to, he or she is going to run alongside what you're already doing. So if you're like holding off from like starting that business or joining that church or starting a YouTube channel or whatever, like don't wait on that, because usually when you're pursuing what God has put in your heart is when that person comes alongside of you.
He'll find you.
It's not when you're just sitting around waiting.
Being or crying on your couch like I did.
Yeah, don't be like us.
Don't be like me.
But that's true, because you know, we've had years of crying years, and that's not when he came along. Fedrick came along when I just went ahead and knew that God was going to be good on His promise when it happened.
And when you showed up was the perfect time, because I would have waited like Jacob another 7 years if that meant I'd be with Jaclyn, the person that God wanted me to be with. So no amount of time is really a long time if that person's going to be the person God has for you.
I would rather be single than right now be in a relationship that makes me feel insecure.
Yeah, with some jib jab.
Jib jab. Just so I could have a hot body.
Yeah.
I'm not talking
label.
about like a hot body. I'm just talking about a
A
body.
warm
heat.
body. They call it.
Okay, warm body.
Warm-
Guys, we love y'all.
Love y'all.
And
Thanks for watching this
real,
video.
Thanks for watching and your questions.
Hit
And we're going to
that thumbs
answer a lot
up.
more as the time goes on.
Hit that subscribe button.
More vlogs,
Yes.
more creative ventures.
Yes.
Lots coming this fall.
It
so
is
get ready.
coming your way. Bye. Zane, tell them bye. Say
Bye.
bye.
Tell
Say
them bye.
Say bye.
Say bye.
Bye. What a greater way to get lust out your head, but to croak some scriptures.
Croach.
Gotta
You
croak.
better watch that lust rise out of your
Yeah, yeah.
head. Scripture.
Better croak.
Go shake some babies.